Hey there, CJ here. Okay, all right, let's try practicing this way. So now I kind of have this this pattern all laid out for you already. So all you gotta do is just kind of trace it and then just fill them in. So maybe this way it'll be easier for you to start. Okay, so as you can see now here, right, these brow patterns, there's no frame, right? So as you can see, I put the frame here for you so you can actually see that should be the eyebrow shape like this, right? So when you map it out and then you're gonna draw like in real life on a real client, you're gonna be drawing these strokes first as your skeletons, right? So so you're gonna start with these one first, and then once you draw before you even draw these, right? So when you have, so let's say when you have like an empty eyebrow, so let me just draw an empty eyebrow like this, right? Oh, there's a tape there. I hope you understand this, right? So let's say I have the empty eyebrow right here, right? So first thing that I need to do is to mark the spine. So this one is spine 3, so spine 3 start here, and then I mark the spine. Yeah, and then I'll go ahead and draw in these skeletons before I even start the tattooing process, right? Okay, so now I'm just I have already done one for you so that you can see that that's sort of like as an example, as a guideline, right? Okay, so now, so the first thing, right, when you draw the spine, right? So once you have the spine already, right, and then you're gonna start drawing in your skeletons. So as you can see here, okay, so now let's say this is the spine, right? So I draw in the spine first. So there should be, in real life, you're gonna have the frame that you create from your eyebrow mapping, the eyebrow design, right? So this is the spine, okay? Now, when you practice this drawing, please make sure that you do it properly, because the way you practice the drawing should be, this will sort of like be the fundamentals of how you would actually do your nano stroke, okay, or machine hair stroke in real life as well. Okay, so now what you want to do is when you draw these strokes, when you practice, we do not do this. This is bad. One line, one line like this. That's not how you're actually going to be doing in real life. This is what you will be doing in real life. You're going to be doing it very slowly. Okay, so very slowly, and then a little bit. So you kind of like sketch it in slowly. So that's how you will be doing it in real life. So you sketch it in. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. Something like that. You actually do a lot more repetition in real life. Like with the actual machine, you're gonna be doing more like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. See that's only that long. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So about 20 little whips, you know, little strokes to form a line. Does that make sense? Okay, now when it comes to the spine here, right, I strongly recommend that you start from the spine first. Does it matter? Can you just go from here up towards the spine? Yes, you can. But as a beginner, I strongly recommend that you go from the spine here. Why? Because at the end right here, like for example, let's say this is the spine, right? When I start drawing from the spine, so because of that repetition, I'm gonna get more pigment, so it will get darker. And then at the end, it should get lighter. You see that it's darker and it's lighter. This is correct. This is bad, where it's like dark evenly. Does that make sense? Okay, so you're gonna start drawing from the spine. Slowly sketch it. And then make sure that the end here is lighter than here. The spine should be darker than the edges or the end of the stroke. So start from the spine. Slowly sketch it out. Repeat, overlap. Yeah, overlap your strides. And then when you come to the end, you're not gonna have that many overlaps, so that's why it gets lighter in the end. So keeping in mind, we want to make sure this end is much lighter than here, okay? Now this pencil is not as precise as the needle, so you see why the line is not super good, right? So the needle will be able to get more of a crisp line. Okay, now this one, again, start from the spine. Now, this very last stroke here actually doesn't come from the spine. So you want to make sure both here and here is light. So the end of the strokes, like this one, the head of the brow, here and here should be lighter than the body of the line. So basically, so if this is one line, so basically this will be darker, and then the end of the line will be lighter. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm not gonna do many repetition right here. I'm gonna keep my hand pressure quite light, especially the skin around here is very thin. So you make sure that you don't apply too much pressure and keep it really, really light. Very, very light. Repeat, repeat. Keep the pressures quite light. So the body here should be darker than the end. Okay, now this is the spine. So I'm gonna kind of like overlap it a little bit with here. So this line should look like a little bit of an S. So this line should look like a little bit of an S like this. So this is like a straight line, and then it curves away this way, and this one will curve away this way, but not this much, just very slightly. Okay, so this should be darker and then light here. Then again, this one is a slight S, but not even less S than this line. But still has the softness to it. Okay. Now again, make sure that this and this is lighter than the body. So not a lot of repetition. Okay guys, it's super duper important that you try to sketch it like this. Keep it, the pressure of the pencil very, very light, okay? Don't apply the pressure like this. So very light, because this will be the same way that you will be actually doing on real skin. You just use the repetition to implant more pigment, not the hand pressure, right? So make sure you keep it really, really, really light. So now this is the skeleton. Now, as you can see, right, that the spine here, you see that I don't actually complete all the spine, right? So this area here is not actually tattooed, right, or drawn on at this point, right? So this one is just to show you that the spine is there, right? So the line, this line, for example, it starts here, this one starts here, this one starts here. So this is supposed to be more like an empty space. Does that make sense? Okay, so now the skeleton is done. So now I'm gonna change the color so you can see. So you can see on this side, right? So I start with building the second line, yeah? So this one, starting from the end of the brow, sketch, sketch, sketch slowly. Now, when you guys practice, you don't have to use different colors, okay? Just regular pencil is fine, but if you have different colors, great. If not, totally fine. Sketch, 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 sketch. Again, you see how this is darker, this is lighter, right? That's super duper important. So start from the top of this line. So I go over it a little bit, and then I slowly build it out, slowly. Okay, start from, so from this line, it ends here. So I'm just gonna go over it just a little bit and then slowly build it out. So this will help you, you know, build this muscle control here as well. So you have to do it the correct way. Okay, so your wrist, your movement, your fingers and whatnot, this will help. Okay. So this insert, this first one, you see how it's almost touching the other line, kind of, yeah. Okay, now this coming from here, from this bottom line, right at the bottom here. So I kind of go over it just lightly and then slowly build it out. Okay, all right. So now for the front of the brow, right? So you're gonna aim the end. When you do this, you wanna aim about, you see right here, about 1/3 down. One third about there. Okay. So here, this should be light and it gets darker. So what you can do as well is just starting from here and go in, go down, sorry. Does that make sense? So this way you're gonna get nice fine line at the bottom here. Does that make sense? Okay. Now on the first line here, I'm not gonna do, you know, the pairing like this. I'm just gonna do like an individual, a single, something like that. So it will look more natural. Okay, excuse me. Right, now I'm gonna change the color again so you guys can see very well. Now, depending on the real brow, right, if you have space here, you might want to do like a tiny little insert like this side. I didn't do anything, but you can do, right, like for example, if I'm gonna do right from here, so what I can do also is just to do like a little line there, or maybe just a single line floating here just to make it look fuller but more natural, so they're not too packed in, right? But this time I'm not gonna do anything, just to keep it pretty basic. So now I'm gonna continue building. So from the very same corner, so I repeat it again to build, so this will get a bit more intense in terms of color, and will create the illusion of fuller looking brow. Now this time, my goal is to aim at here, this one. Yeah, okay, and then this. So my goal is to aim at the end right here, but not connecting, right? Again, this should be darker and then lighter over there at the end of the stride or the stroke. Okay. And then right here, oh, sorry, right here. Same, from that same corner, gonna come up. So darker, it gets lighter in terms of the intensity of the color. The end of here, the end of the strokes, usually it's just little pixels kind of like tight together like that, right? So it's not the actual line, but more like spread out pixels. Okay, so this one is tight already, so I'm not gonna do any more of the insert. And then right here in the front, just gonna do a single strand, keep it very light at the beginning. It's gonna get darker a little bit because of the repetition, and then gets lighter again at the end. Light at the beginning, darker in the middle, and light again at the end of the stride, the stroke. Okay, just like that, right? In real life, you know, little scratch is not gonna implant any pigment in general. Okay, so now, depending on the actual fullness of the client's eyebrows, or, you know, how much you want to add. So like right here, it looks kind of not so full yet. So I'm just gonna branch it out just a little bit more. But this time, instead of coming from this little nook, I'm just branching out from the blue line. Just a little bit. The goal is to land this green line between these two main ones, right? You see how the green lands between the two, the green lands about right in the middle of the two, somewhere around there, right? That's the goal. Like this one is pretty tight already, so I might just want to add a floating line right there instead of like connecting, so it doesn't look too intense right there. Right, and then you see how this one has a little space, so I just add maybe a single line right there. Okay, I hope this makes more sense. I hope this helps a lot, right? So remember the line, right? Like for example here, around here should be darker and it should get lighter at the tail of the stroke. Okay, all right, happy practicing. Bye.